Hi, in this set of videos, I will be demonstrating some basic GIS and cartographic principles, and in the process, I will be creating a chiefdom map of the Nyampande chiefdom, illustrating those villages that have access to a health clinic. This video can be mirrored to create chiefdom maps using either of the other three variables: access to a water source, in our case boreholes and wells, does the village have a register, and distance to a school. This first video will demonstrate how you need to set up your QGIS map document and the data layers that you will need to create the chiefdom map. This video begins once the data has already been added into the map, and you can see here that I have my three layers that I will be working with: the Zambia rivers and roads, the ILRG villages, and the health clinics layer. We will also be adding a base map into this map document, but I will show you how to do that so you can do it on your own. The first step is to save your map document as something appropriate to what you're mapping. In our case, I will save it as Nyampande Chiefdom Template Video. And then you can click Save, and there you have saved your map document. The next step is to layer your layers in the Layer panel here in the correct order you want them visible on the map. You will want the more prominent layers in your map to be on top of other layers, as well as those that maybe have less locations on the map. So in our case, we will be putting the health clinics layer on the top, then the ILRG villages layer, and then on the bottom, we're going to have the Zambia rivers and roads, just because the most important things in this video are showing the village locations as well as the health clinic locations. For example, you can see here that the health clinics are far less prominent than the village layer, so we want them on top because otherwise they would get lost beneath, as I can show you here. They're not as visible when they're underneath the village layer, so we will drag that back up on top. Now I will show you how to add in the base map. To do that, you need to enable the browser window and make sure it is available. If you do not see it in your QGIS map document, you can go up to the top panel here, go to View, go to Panels, and make sure that Browser is checked. Once you have checked Browser, you should see the XYZ tiles choice here. So what you will do is come to XYZ tiles, right-click, go to New Connection, and here's where you will put in the URL of the base map that you will be using. The URL that you will input here will be supplied to you. In our case, I have it saved in a text document in the folder that I have the rest of the data in. So hopefully when the data is shared with you, so will this text document. Here is the URL, so we can copy that in and paste. And then what we can do is give our base map a title. I believe we're using an OpenStreetMap base map, so that's something around the name that I will give to it. Once you've given it an appropriate name, you can select OK. And now you can see that it pops up as an XYZ tile. And the last step is to just drag it into your layer panel below that. Of course, it's our base map, so we want it at the base of all of our data, so we will drag it below Zambia rivers and roads. And now you have your base map available. The final step before we stylize our layers is to reduce the number of villages that we see on the map here to only those villages within the Nyampande chiefdom. And we can do that simply by querying the dataset. We don't even have to create a new data set. We will just query it, so we will only be able to see those villages that are within the Nyampande chiefdom. To do that, you come over to your ILRG Villages May 2020 shapefile, right-click, go to Properties, come down to Source, and you want to find the box called Provider Feature Filter. This will filter all of the points on the map to follow an expression that we build. So what we will do is go down to Query Builder, and we want to query of course, by the name of the chiefdom. So we'll double click on chiefdom equals and go over here to sample, and it will give us all of the options that are available in the chiefdom field. And now we just need to find Niampande, and we can click OK. So now we have added that. If we go back to our map here, you will see that only the Niampande villages have been added. We also want to limit our villages by the number of households, because as you can see, it's very crowded with all the villages. So we would like to limit the villages shown to only those villages that have more than 10 households. So what we will do is go back to our query builder, click on query builder, and now we want to add another part of the expression. So we will add and we want the number of households, so we'll double click on that, to be greater, click on sample again, 10. We can also choose another number if a chiefdom has a lot of smaller villages that have under 2 households, or we want to bump it up to maybe more than 20 households, you can do that. But for Niampande, we're going to use 10 households as the threshold. Then you can click OK and OK, and that will reduce the number of villages that you see on the screen by a little bit to make it a little less crowded. If you are making a map for another chiefdom, all you would have to do is go back into Properties, go back to Source and Query Builder, and you could simply just change the chiefdom name here, and then you would only be able to see on the map those villages within that specific chiefdom. And again, this doesn't edit the data set whatsoever. It simply just limits what you can view currently on your screen. That concludes this first video, and in the next video we will be demonstrating how to symbolize your layers.